Hey there guys, what's up? It's me, Sam. We're back here with a brand new video and welcome back to Gingy Reacts, where today I am joined by a very special guest. He is my co-host of the Horrorworks podcast and my best friend, Eben Scott.
Hey everybody.
And Eben is here today because we are bringing you a video that we've been wanting to release for a while now and finally have the opportunity to do so. Now, way back when, I believe it was sometime around May, early May.
Actually, it was April 26th.
Wow, okay, I was way off. Me and him had the opportunity to interview none other than Zoran Gvojic. And if you guys don't know who Zoran Gvojic is, he is not only one of the editors and hosts of the Kill Count over on the Dead Meat channel, but he also has his own YouTube channel called LowCardComedy. Both those links to those channels will be in the description down below because me and Eben love both those channels respectively. And we had the opportunity to interview the legend himself, and we had so much fun. You're going to see that in this video, which is already very long, but it was an hour and a half of our time well spent. And Zoran, if you're watching this video, please just know that we are thankful for the time that you took to talk to us, wearing your legendary flannel as well, to represent. And I hope you guys enjoy this video as well. Hopefully future me in the descriptions put all the different questions that we asked in timestamps, just so you guys can skip to those specific questions if you guys want to know any sort of certain information. But I've taken up this intro a bit too long. So Eben, is there anything you would like to add?
So let the horror commence. And also a quick side note, everything, if we do talk about certain subjects during the SAG-AFTRA strike, certain products, certain companies that are against SAG-AFTRA and everything that's going on, we are in support of SAG-AFTRA, and this is before all the strikes and everything happened. So do not worry. Us of Horrorworks, including me, Harry, and our co-host, Chris,
Chris,
are all in support with SAG-AFTRA. Yeah, you've almost forgot about Chris. Chris is our co-host.
Shout out to you, Chris, for also wearing the flannel that day. Because Eben didn't wear the flannel.
Anyways, hope you enjoy the video, and see y'all there.
Interview with Zoran Gvojic. Take one, Mark.
Roll film.
Action.
So my name is Eben Scott. I am a themed entertainment design and film and television major at SCAD and junior.
I'm Harry Sambrook, and I am a performing arts major with a minor in acting for the camera here at SCAD.
And my name is Christopher Yura. I am a film and television major here at SCAD.
And I am Zoran Gvojic, a SCADuate and I'm returning to host the Kill Count on the Dead Meat YouTube horror channel, as well as have my own YouTube channel, LowCardComedy, where I occasionally make funny jokes.
And we appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I would like to say thank you for both reaching out and us both communicating through email. I greatly appreciate our communication so far. That was really It was really cool.
Old school. It's old school email.
Oh yeah, I wanted to be professional also at the same time. This is professional. I have to ask Zoran, can he come on SCAD Radio and our horror podcast?
Yeah, I think, and obviously I'm very happy to be on a podcast from my former alma mater. Or I guess just alma mater, not former.
Yeah.
I didn't disavow my time at SCAD, so.
So do you want to start with the question first, Harry?
I could get the ball rolling. So when Evan told me that you first went to SCAD, I had no idea that you attended SCAD, obviously. So I think my first question right off the bat is why did you choose to attend SCAD in the first place?
Oh, because they were real nice. I had interviewed at a few different places, applied for college. I went to a few places. I went to the Ringling School in Florida, looking at that, because I was originally going for computer animation. I watched Pixar movies and went, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And so I tried Ringling, and then the School of Visual Arts in New York. And Ringling was nice, but I didn't know if I wanted to be in Florida. And then the School of Visual Arts, I remember showing my portfolio and them going, well, this isn't good enough. I'm like, okay, cool. Sorry, don't take all my thousands of dollars, school. I'll go somewhere else. And then I interviewed at SCAD, and they were like, this is awesome. Your work is really fun and we like what you do. So yeah, if you want to come. And then I also got a little scholarship because I was in high school, the honors track. I was Mr. Only school work mattered and grades and all of that stuff. And then after a slight breakdown in like junior year, my mom's like, that doesn't matter. And you're going to an art school. I'm like, you're right. And I had the best senior year of my life. I said, I'm going to art school. It doesn't matter. And I took the ACTs, and my ACT score just got me a scholarship. So I'm like, scholarship, nice people, never, I'll live, far away. And then also, I did look at Columbia in Chicago, but I am from Chicago, and I wanted to get that distance to kind of see what it's like to be across the country from the family. So there you go.
That's really good explanation. And I think I felt the same way because I'm actually from Florida as it is.
I reside in Florida too, so we understand. We get it.
Yeah, we were like, maybe Florida is not the way to go. So then,
I mean, you're close enough to Florida that I did drive down to Disney during finals week. I remember doing that while all my other friends were finishing up their school, and I just put a picture up in front of the big castle, and just went, finals week, this is what I'm doing. I finished my film. Bye.
Best finals week ever going to Disney.
Yeah.
pretty sure that's my finals actually. That's coming
I'd
this
love to
quarter.
do that. I'd love to do that.
So next it'll be
Chris.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, what got you into horror growing up? What was that like? Was there like a key defining moment where like your like horror obsession started?
It would, I'm going to credit my mom, Dr. Susan Brown, the most normal name for the man whose name is Zoran Gvojic. Yeah, it was my mom who got me into that. She showed me stuff that I probably should never have seen. But she's like, these are good movies. I'm just going to have you cover your eyes during these parts that are, bad. So I watched like Alien and Bram Stoker's Dracula or other things. And I remember finally learning that I could peek through my fingers and still see these things that were happening. I'm like, oh, well, this is a game changer. I don't have to just blindly trust my mom. And what I saw was like, well, that's really cool. And then I started really enjoying doing like sleepovers and just like, what horror movie can we rent? And I remember my first kind of slasher franchise thing was Freddy. I loved Freddy because my buddy Mark Kleinfelder, his dad loved Freddy because he says, oh, I love Freddy. Freddy kills teenagers. That's the best thing that you can do. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, I'd watch a lot of stuff with my, and that was where I first saw Army of Darkness. And it took many years before I knew there was even an Evil Dead 1 or 2. I had no idea there was more than one. I was like, Army of Darkness, that's the best movie ever. I didn't know there was more. Great. So yeah, I credit my mom especially to that, and then it's just grown from there. And actually, Killer Clowns from Outer Space was one that my mom forbid me to watch. And you never forbid your child to watch any. Like, she shows me Alien, which is far more disturbing than Killer Clowns from Outer Space. She's like, I don't want you to see Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So I would like stare through the pay-per-view like static to try and see some bits of that, and I finally got to see it. I'm like, well, this is one of my all-time favorite movies ever. So
it's actually my top 3 for me so far.
What, Killer Clowns?
Yeah, Killer Clowns.
Yeah,
top 3.
It's so good.
It's phenomenal.
Check it movie.
Okay, so this question is going to be for both Deadbeat and also LowCardComedy.
Yes.
So when talking like and creating content for both your channels, what are some of the challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
Well, I started doing stuff after I graduated before YouTube, where I would upload little 320 by 240 QuickTimes to my own website that I built of sketches. Because as soon as I graduated, the way that it is with art schools is, you're not guaranteed a job when you get out of an art school. So I'm like, well, I'm not gonna get anyone's gonna pay me to make movies right now. So I'm just gonna make a thing all the time. And so me and my buddy Mark Cusper, who you will see in all early low carb productions, he was the guy that would just literally show up at my house with a full tombstone pizza that he cooked, just eating it in my doorway. Just be like, what are we filming today? And that's why he's in everything, because he just showed we'd film stuff and we'd just have random jokes and we'd put it up online and see where it went, and then started uploading it to YouTube. And I guess, I mean, the challenge is now it becomes more, as you become an adult, there's a lot more things that take your time away, that eat up things, and, your relationship. I'm married now, and to a wonderful woman who supports all my craziness and will be in whatever thing that I end up doing. And, there's life that gets in the way. It's a big challenge. The main thing is just time, and then your creative energy. Sometimes you only have so much creative energy, and so I spend all of it, because I work full-time for Dead Meat, the horror YouTube channel started by James A. Janice, with his lovely wife Chelsea Rebecca, and I'm very, very honored to be a part of that. And it takes a lot of creative energy, and I pour all of it into the kill counts and things that I do. And so then when I'm trying to do my own stuff, I'm like, I have nothing left. I just want to play Fortnite. Just leave me alone.
Relatable. I get that.
Yes. So I mean, that's the thing. But then when I started, there was a much smaller pool. No one even knew what YouTube really was for, and was just random clips of things. And that Nutri-Grain commercial was all I remember on early YouTube, of the crazy people in the office going, babies everywhere. But that then it's just that YouTube is such a huge pool now. And then there's other things like TikTok, and, there used to be Vine, but not anymore. It's how do you get your stuff noticed above anything else? And you're at the whim of an algorithm, this random algorithm that YouTube creates to promote some things and not promote any things. For example, my biggest video is Social Mediasicist, which is a music video where I put slashers like Jason and Freddy and Carrie into high school, and did like a John Hughes style movie. That, when it first premiered, got maybe like 200,000 views, and that was kind of it, which is still a good amount of views. And we did a big push and we had a publicist pushing things out there, and got a couple articles and things written, and then nothing happened for multiple years. And I tried doing another series called Big Head Parodies. That was my push to try and do something like every month. I picked the most complicated graphics thing that I could ever do, and I got burnt out after a couple of years and went, I can't do this anymore, and said, I'm just going to put things up when I have time. And then randomly the algorithm changed, and suddenly Social Mediasicist started getting recommended, and it's now at 83 million views.
Wow.
So it was complete fluke. Like, I didn't do it. I literally said, I'm not making anything new anymore. And then boom, it's like, oh, really? Well, what about this thing that happened all there? Probably part of it is also, I think it did get also promoted on one of James's videos for Killer Clowns in 2018, but it already done quite a bit before that, so much so that we'd actually worked on we did the sequel, Social Mediasicist 2. So there's a lot of challenges in creating content, aside from just your own personal ones of just having the energy and making sure that things are good. And now production value is much higher on my stuff that I do now, so I need a full crew, whereas before it was me and Mark Cusper, and we had one fluorescent tube that was called old 40 watt, and that was what we used to light everything. And it was broken on one end, so if you touched one end of it, it would electrocute you. So you had to know. And we didn't have light stands. We literally had like Dave Schneider, or another one of my buddies, just holding this thing up to light the scene. And then we just filmed it in camera audio, whatever it was, and then just put it out there. So
that's a lot of fun. And I agree with that, especially, for example, me doing Film 100 at SCAD.
Yeah.
It's basically exactly like that. It's limited lighting. You have your phone to record everything for my Film 100 project. And it's just like amazing after you see it and going like, wow, I made this, and also enjoyed it. But I also feel like I'm so drained now. I just need to relax.
I mean, the freest point in my life, the best that I ever feel is after I've filmed something, like a day of filming, and be like, I can do whatever I want now. I accomplished so much today. Whereas other days you're like, I should really be writing that thing, or I should edit that thing that's been sitting on my computer for a minute. Like, but after filming, I'm like, I don't care. I'm eating a hamburger. I'm gonna lay on the couch and let my dog lick my toes. That's my day.
Yeah, that's 100% relatable. Like, I understand like that whole feeling of getting the video, like, yes, it's over now, I can relax. But I was actually, when I was going back, watching some of your old videos on low carb, I saw that a lot of the videos span 16 years, which was insane to me. I was like, oh my God, because I sometimes forget how long YouTube's been around.
Mhm.
And you've made so many great videos, like from that point all the way now. Like, you know, with the Big Head Movie Parodies, They Talk, the Kill Count, Social Media Actress. What would you say was like the hardest video for you to make?
The hardest one to make. I mean, Social Media Actress 1 and 2 were like the most time consuming, most prep that ever. Like Social Media Actress 2, I got like lockjaw from that, from the stress. Like I was just like, my cheeks were that. It was 4 intense days. It was very well planned out, and we, you know, everything that I do, I storyboard and I make sure that we have as much time as we did, and we did pretty good on days that we were shooting and stuff. But there's things that end up happening that, you know, stress you out, and it's just really, it was a really intense shoot, really fun shoot. Just think that I'm literally trying to film an entire movie in 4 minutes. Like I'm telling an entire story. Each shot is like a second, if that. So I'm on set, like basically going, okay, so you have to look from here to here and smile. Okay, you got to do that, and or you got to run from here to here and then kiss. At this point, you've got 4 seconds. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. Didn't get there fast enough. Do it again. All right, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Because that thing has so many shots. I can't remember how many I did, but it's more shots than like a typical movie per set, like per amount of time. So I'd say Social Media Actress 1 and 2, I believe, are the most difficult shoots that we did, because we also did it on, you know, no budget really. Like I raised money on Kickstarter, and for that second one didn't raise any money. I just put my own money into that first one just for costumes basically, and then we just had favors and people working for free. And that whole prom scene was probably only about 30 people, but we shot it in a way so it looks like the whole gym is filled up and everything. So tricks like that.
Awesome. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. So, how did so I know you've been working for Dead Meat for a while. How did you and James meet, and how did you kind of end up working for him full time?
Yes. So my friend Brandon, who I'd been working with at Maker Studios when that was a thing, he told me about this kill count or something. You should watch this, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, well, this is fun. I'm gonna email it. I emailed him and said, hey, I want if you need an editor or anything like that, I'm looking for work. I'm out in LA now. Da da da. Nothing. And then I befriended John Massari, the composer of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, after he posted that he was doing an orchestral version of Killer Clowns. And he posted a little video, and I commented on it. I went, I love this. And then he discovered my YouTube channel, and I got all these notifications being like, John Massari liked your video. John Massari commented on your video. Like he went through all my videos, and we became friends from that. And he asked me to be like the disembodied voice of God for the Killer Clowns concert, where he played the movie and then did a full live orchestra score to the film. And so I was there in a full top hat and suit coat, and it was all decked out. And I saw that James was there, and I can't remember if I introduced or how it all worked, but I got interviewed. You can see that on the Dead Meat channel for the Killer Clowns event that he covered. Interviews me. That's the first time we ever met. And then I never heard anything about that email that I sent. And I went on one of his live streams, and he was complaining. He's like, oh, the kill counts. He's like, someone asked, like, what's the thing that you hate the most? He's like, putting the movie footage over and covering and making sure that it, you know, works for everything. And then in the chat, I just went, I could do that if you'd like. And he went, really? Okay. And he gave me the Ice Cream Man with Clint Howard as my first kind of test. And I did it. And he went, oh, yes, you can do this. Oh, okay. Yeah. Here's another one. So I started doing basically that. I just did coverage, as we call it, just covering up the with the footage of the movies, and that was all I did for a long time. And then that was 2018, and then we started working more together. And I don't even remember when I did They Talk. I think it's 2021 is when I did They Talk. But he was looking to do different things on the channel and try some stuff, so I pitched that show where I put voices to famous slasher killers. And another one that I picked is one of the most complicated things that I could ever do, is trying to reform an entire story out of existing footage with a character arc and jokes that it makes sense. That takes like 100 hours per episode to do. So that was another really difficult one, but I did that in 2021. But I started working more, obviously, in 2020 when everything shut down. YouTube was still going and James had the work, so he was still doing stuff for that, and then got there, and then got the chance to be the very first non-James host of the Kill Count, because he needed a break. He was getting burned out. He'd been doing it for 5 years, every week, at least one a week, sometimes 3 in like Halloween times. You also look at the earlier stuff, and his kill counts were 7 minutes. They're now like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot more behind the scenes and just more comprehensive in it. And then once I got added in, I add more jokes than anyone should ever have in the thing. Like, I always balloon the thing up with jokes, and it's James's job to go, get this out of here. Get this out of here. Come on. So yes, that's how I worked, and then started full time, I think about 2 years ago, and have very much enjoyed it. It's been a lovely, lovely job, and I'm very honored that I'm trusted enough to host it, and that I have my own little pocket of dead meat fans that enjoy my presence, and then the other ones who absolutely hate seeing me on the kill count. But that's okay. That's the internet. I am so used to the internet, and I've read awful comments about videos that I've posted and things, and I'm like, that's not about me, man. That is something that's going on with you. You just say what you need to do, and that's cool. But it's a lot more positive than negative.
I loved your Tremors kill counts. Those are the ones I looked forward to a lot, seeing those.
Thank you so much. Those, obviously, labor of love. I really love those. And that's where this weekend I'm actually going to Tremors Fest in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where they're going to show all 7 of them in theaters, which is amazing because only the first one was released theatrically. And it's at George R.R. Martin's theater, the Violet Crown. And very excited, going to try and get some interviews with the cast and crew that will be there. Hoping Michael Gross will speak to me. At the very least, I have met Steve Wilson before, S.S. Wilson, the writer, when I dressed as a graboid in Chicago for a screening. So he'll always remember me from that. So I'll get to see him again, which will be great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the current state of the horror genre and horror movies, and where do you see it headed?
Are you kidding me? It's booming. So much. I never thought I'd see another Evil Dead movie in theaters. 10 years later, we get another Evil Dead movie that did so well that they're probably going to be doing these every 2-3 years. I mean, there's so much stuff. You had Terrifier 2 that kind of broke the idea that NC-17 or unrated movies, because it's not rated, it's unrated, movies can't make money. That made a crap ton of money. That hopefully will allow things to be in theater. Like, the rating system is so outdated. We don't need it anymore. It really is. There's worse stuff on TV sometimes than the movies, and it's all just up to whatever everyone wants to do. But yeah, there's so much stuff. Aside from franchises, there's tons of original stuff coming out. Like, my favorite movie last year was The Menu, which I think is a great, just incredible original, and I do classify it as a horror movie. The man is killing people. Some people are just like, oh no, it's more of like a dramatic thriller, but it's horror to me. I will accept that. There's so much coming out. And if you look at the Dead Meat Horror Awards, there's hundreds of movies, and we try and do a montage at the beginning of that of like every movie that came out. And some of these don't even know. Like, I learned of a lot of movies because I helped do like selects, which were basically going through a movie and picking interesting clips that we could use for a montage. And so I'm watching the whole movie and like, wow, I had no idea this is okay. There's a whole movie about a J.K. Simmons as a Cthulhu monster in a glory hole in a rest stop on the side of the road. That's a movie. cool. I had no idea. So you got to get the word out about a lot of the kind of obscure things out there. And there's some really, really good stuff out there. And I think it's going to just continue. There's always going to be for horror. Horror is nice because usually you can do it fairly cheaply as well. And that's where Blumhouse has had such a great, renaissance for all this thing, is they know that like you don't spend $300 million on a movie and hope that it makes $1 billion. You make, 30 $10 million movies, and then hey, you're probably going to get something close to that back. And if one bombs, another one makes 40 million, great, you just finance 3 more movies or whatever. So yeah, keeping the budget low will keep things going, but you can still do a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of creative people out there doing some really good stuff in horror. So a great time to be a horror fan.
A quick side note real quick.
Mhm.
So did you know that majority of SCAD students helped on the menu, and most of it was filmed in Savannah?
No, what was it?
Yeah.
Savannah? Or I thought I heard that maybe it was Hilton Head at some point, or no?
Yeah, it was Hilton Head and
Okay.
Tide.
That's awesome. So so that's how they kept the budget so low. They paid Ray fines, and then they just grabbed all hungry students. Come with me. We'll give you beer and pizza rolls.
Lord Voldemort's in Savannah, kids. Come with us. Yeah.
Please. Yeah.
Same thing
People
with
may not be named.
same thing with Chris here. He actually got to work on Halloween Ends, which all filmed in Savannah.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean Savannah is also nice because it does have a good film community of things coming through there from time to time. And I mean I love the town of Savannah. It was absolutely beautiful and wonderful to stay in. Aside from playing good block, bad block with certain cities and things of that nature. When looking for apartments outside of the dorms at O House or whatever, you just want to make sure you're like, what's the crime map on this one? Okay, we're good there. All right.
Also, he's technically the shape for Halloween Ends. Also,
Yeah, I got
What?
yeah. So I got to be the Corey photo double. So
That's awesome.
So at the beginning of the movie, when he's riding his bike to go babysit Jeremy, it's me on the bike. It's not Rowan Campbell. And
That's
then
awesome.
one day, their Michael Myers stand-in wasn't available, so they just threw the mask on me real fast, and I helped block out some scenes in the mask.
That's got to be really cool. So, did they do anything to make that mask any less hot?
No, but I refused to take it off the entire day I had it on.
You were in character. You became very method. And
Yeah,
you're just like,
because
I'm not talking to anyone, and if they try and take my mask, I just give them a little.
I just kept head tilting at everyone, and Christopher Nelson put the mask on me, so I felt like I was christened the shape that day.
That's so cool.
And
That's really fun.
Because the actor that played Michael Myers, James B. Courtney, he takes it off as soon as they cut. But I refuse.
I would too.
Yeah,
Freaking thing is got to be, if it's like any of the trick or treat ones or just a normal, latex mask, those things are awful.
I have a photo of me wearing it, and my armpits are I'm just sweating bullets.
Oh yeah,
because there was no AC in the studio, and I was wearing the mask, and I was working with Jamie Lee Curtis, so there's a lot of
that's cool.
So a lot of nerve-wracking energy that day. So I was like, I'm not taking this thing off. This is too important to me.
I understand that. I once wore a Freddy outfit for 10 hours. Freddy Krueger for sausage fingers, my short sausage fingers, because as we were filming it, we used smoke machines that kept setting off the fire alarms, and then the fire alarms would set off all the dogs at my mom's house, and then at one point the camera failed and all the cards were corrupted, and I had to refilm everything again. So sausage fingers, maybe that was the hardest one that I had to film, because I took that mask off and just poured sweat, like it just poured out of me in there. So anytime that I have any kind of energy in that shot, that's true acting there, because I'm just like, bitch.
So speaking of a horror franchise, there are so many different ones, of course, because like you said, horror industry is booming right now. It's been for a long time now. So if you could be a part of like any horror franchise, like any movie, like if it's a single one, like a long-term character, anything, what do you think it would be? Fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Critters.
For those just listening, I am putting a critter puppet right in the camera. Critters, I wrote a treatment for a Critters movie with my buddy Michael Rousselet from 5 Second Films that I desperately want to make, that I think is a really, really fun idea, but I won't share it in case it actually does get made. But at one point we did that. And then, of course, if they ever do anything with Tremors, I would happily be in any way, shape, or form on that. And then the Evil Dead series, now that that's branching out even more, there's plenty that I would love to do with that. And if I were to reboot any movie ever myself, would be Waxwork. If anyone remembers Waxwork with Zach Galligan, that movie I absolutely adore. It's a wonderful horror comedy, and I would happily have some ideas for a fun reboot there. That's how you create a monster cinematic universe in one film.
So if any horror studios out there are listening,
yes, any of them listening, I am interested in all these things. I have a slight amount of horror cred now, thanks to Dead Meat. Thank you, Dead Meat, for giving me a little bit of that. But then I also think there needs to be original ones, because I also have an original horror movie about killer plants that I would love to do, because there's not enough killer plants horror out there. There is not enough.
that's true. The only one I can think of is like Little Shop.
Little Shop is the only one
That's-
that anyone
okay,
can
fine,
think
yeah,
of.
that's like the only one. Like
It's the best one.
It's the best
Yeah.
one. It's like the only one. Like, oh, fun
It's like Jaws, where every shark movie after that is just Jaws. Like, it ruined the genre in some ways that it's like nothing else can be as good as this one ever. But I think as a non-musical, it could work. And so yeah, I've got plenty of things that I'd like to try in the future, but whatever anyone's interested in bringing me on for, I will give it a shot. I always give my 100% in any project that I do.
We're kind of bouncing on that. There's been so many like horror like reboots, remakes recently. Is there a franchise that hasn't had anything that like in the past like 10, 15 years that you'd like to see kind of make a resurgence and do a new movie, TV show, video game, etc.?
I mean, yeah, like I said, Waxwork 100%. That's one that no one remembers. The House series is another one. House 2, the second story. I actually just did a commentary track for that for the Dead Meat Patreon. So if anyone's like the $3, I think, donation version of that, you can listen to me talk to my friend, talk to Tim, who's another writer at Dead Meat, and Sarah, who's an editor at Dead Meat, talk all about House 2, which has a dog-a-pillar in it. The dog caterpillar, and it's the cutest thing in the world, and it's voiced by Frank Welker. And it has a character in there played by John Ratzenberger, who's an electrician that's just really casual about there being an alternate dimension hidden inside the wall of this house. And he pulls a sword out of his electrician kit and goes in and goes on an adventure. And I actually wrote an entire feature script kind of based on that character, our own version of kind of a character that's like that. So Waxworks for sure. And then the other movie that I'm premiering on Friday, April 28th, that's my first kill count back, is Deep Rising, starring Treat Williams, if anybody knows that movie from 1998 that came out 3 weeks after Titanic and was doomed to fail after that. But it's tentacle, big, cool tentacle creature, big budget 50s B movie that ends on a cliffhanger. And I definitely want to make a secret sequel to that movie somehow that gets Treat Williams in there. But, I got to get all these things. So we'll see how it goes.
I remember watching Deep Rising. It confused the crap out of me for a bit until I remember it. I was like, okay, it makes sense more now after watching it.
What was confusing about Deep Rising? It's people on a boat with tentacles.
The tentacles were confusing to me the most. I was like, where did this come from? Like, out of the blue, just like, what?
Is it just Deep Rising or any sort of tentacle movie?
It's Deep Rising. It was Deep Rising at first, and then after a while, it's like, okay, I love this movie more after knowing it. But that was like young version of me that was like, what is this?
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, my next question. Just steal one from you.
Stealing my questions now? What? You're both stealing my questions.
You got plenty.
I know.
How did the idea of Day Talk come about?
Yeah, I think I'd pitched a couple shows to James. He was like, all right, we're looking to expand Dead Meat if anyone has any ideas. So I came up with a bunch of shows. And that one, I was like, oh, this seems doable. So that one, I actually did a pilot, which happens to be pretty much the opening of the Friday the 13th one, where he's walking out with the spear gun, just going, well-itty, well-itty, well-itty. And I did a pilot, and that first scene basically became the first scene of They Talk. And I said, James, I think I could do this, because also I'm a voiceover actor, and that's the dream, is to do voiceover. And I was like, what can combine that with horror? And I was like, oh, they're silent, they're not talking. It'd be fun if they did like a call and response to whatever someone's saying, because a lot of people are like, who's out there? What is that? Huh? So I thought that would be fun. And so I did that first episode, and then I realized it got more complicated as I went on, as I started to create more and more of a story, and then start filming additional bits to get my story across and everything. Like, did a full day shoot for the Happy Death Day one for Babyface, because I wanted to show that Babyface is in a time loop as well as the main girl. But yeah, no, it was just the thought to get my voiceover stuff combined with horror and play with characters that I really, really loved. And that's where They Talk started.
It's really cool and really inspirational.
Thank
wait.
you. just someone asked you, what's an idea you have? I'm like, I like this thing and this thing. Here you go. That's a thing I did.
Yeah.
So, like you said before, when it comes to like writing all these scripts, like, you know, the kill counts, but also a lot of your low-card comedy stuff, like Big Head Movie Parodies, how do you come up like with a lot of the dialogue and jokes for scripts when it comes to those sort of projects? Because a lot of the, like, I literally binged every single Big Head movie parody.
Good.
Watching, like, getting ready for this, and I was like,
thank you.
A lot of the jokes in these things are just insane. Like, I think the one that showed me the most was like Home Alone, Lost in New York. Like, that one was like the one that just got me so much. So I was thinking, like, how do you come up with a lot of this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a lot of those with my buddy Ted Evans, who's another very talented voiceover actor who you see in the Big Head videos. We kind of created Big Heads together, basically because we were working at Maker Studios at the time on a Star Wars show, but nobody wanted. They had gotten the rights to Star Wars, and like, we're going to do a new Star Wars show every day until the new movie comes out. And then Lucasfilm's like, no, we don't want you to do that. We don't like you. Like, oh, okay. Well, what if we did this? They're like, well, you can't use Star Wars characters in your show. Like, oh, okay. No music either. No footage of Star Wars. I'm like, can we mention Star Wars in our Star Wars show? So we ended up making a show that doesn't exist anymore on YouTube. That was basically Ted and I sitting in a back room riffing on clips of Star Wars cosplay and things like that. But we made like 50 episodes of this show, contractually obligated to. And our pitch for a show was going to be the Big Head Star Wars. That's why it's the first one. We're like, this is the show we should be making. Let us use the footage and make jokes within the universe. And they're like, this is funny. This is so much better than any other stuff. You can't do it. Okay. Well, we're just going to make it ourselves. And so that became a thing that Ted and I loved doing. And I think a lot of scripts sometimes start as one joke. Like, I'll just think of like, I want this joke to be seen. What do I have to write around to get to this joke? That's how most of, if you watched any of my Monsters of Science videos, I did the 50s black and white parodies mashing up universal monsters with famous scientists, like, you know, the Attack of the Cosmic Frank Einstein or Galileican, which those are probably some of my absolute favorite things that I've done. And they're very much in the, I wanted them to be kind of timeless and less referential, as a lot of my stuff becomes very referential. But those are kind of timeless, classic comedy jokes, slapstick, literal slapping, and things of that nature. And I always loved the black and white era of films and wanted to bring those back. So, you know, there's inspirations for everything in all the different ways that things come up. And for actually Social Mediasochist, that one was inspired because we wanted to do a music video. And we were originally going to do a music video for another song of Common Shiners that was going to be an entire recreation of Jaws. We're going to recreate the entire movie to their song called Sharks. I storyboarded out the whole thing and we're like, all right, let's figure out how to shoot this. And it then was suddenly kept getting pushed and pushed till it was like October. And I'm like, we're not going in the water in October. Thank you very much. In Chicago, not going to happen. So we're like, all right, what do we want to do? I'm like, well, I always wanted to do a slasher related thing or something John Hughes style for one of his songs. I was like, let's do it like John Hughes teen comedy, but we can do slashers because none of us are teenagers. So it'll cover our faces and it'll be okay that we're not teenagers in this high school comedy. And that's where that one kind of came up from, was a necessity of covering our older faces. And then I was like, oh, well, this is just going to be my love letter to horror. And I just started shoving even more jokes and references and just like, hey, here's everything that we can get into there. And then I fucking tripled it in Social Mediasochist too. Every single shot is packed with even more stuff than the first one. But that one was also inspired by the music. Like I just listened to the song and went, okay, this is basically, I see the beat here. This is where kind of the turn is for this act and things like that. And just truncating down the story and then, you know, figuring it out. And so I am at work for another Social Mediasochist 2 project right now that I'm hoping to film. I'll give you the exclusive. I don't know if that's ever going to work. I started writing it, but it's basically Social Mediasochist 2, but it's Carrie's side of what happens. So Jason's at the office. So during that entire time at the office, we see what Carrie was doing that entire time. So there'll be reused footage from parts of it where they're together, but then there'll be all new footage with Carrie, so you can see everything that's going on in there. And there is a hint as to what was going on with Carrie in one of the shots in the original that I like specifically put in there. I will say, like, you briefly see a blade puppet run away in one of the shots, and that has to do with the story of what was going on with her. So I was like, I always had this idea in my head, but I've never been able to do it. So I'm hoping this summer that I can figure out how to film it. But also I have to potentially finish They Talk Season 2, which I have edited 4 initial rough cuts of to get approval from James. But with me taking over the channel, that's probably not going to happen right afterwards because James doesn't want it to be the Zoran show for the rest of the time. I don't even know what we were talking about. I went on a rant on a bunch of different things, but there's your exclusive, is that I am working on something Social Mediasochist 2. I do want to do a third one. I have thought of it, the idea for it, but that one's up to Morgan doing another album. Morgan Foster, the man who did the song for the first one and was in Common Shiner for the previous one.
Right. That was exciting. All that. Well,
yeah. Oh, I'm glad you're excited. Thank you. I had to give you something. Yeah. You're all wearing flannels. You're all dressed like me.
Yeah. we take after the best.
We take off to the reigning kill count champion.
Yeah. Also, not to completely spoil it, but I'm 1 and 2 now. Thanks to Deep Rising.
What?
I don't pick this on purpose. But no, Deep Rising is now number 2. Vastly behind still, but still higher than Zombieland.
What was the kill count record? It was like, what was it?
4,000
4,295, I think is old Parchtown added in there.
He's so shocked.
Yeah. And then I think it's like 460 for Deep Rising or something. So there's a very large gap to get in between there. And that's where I hope that we have inspired some filmmaker out there to make a film specifically to beat Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
Okay. Wait, can I do it? Speaking of which,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Me and him actually talked about that, like, hey, maybe we can give this to James so he can beat it.
Yeah, just like one day, like I was like, we were walking back to our house, and then I was like, we were talking about Dude Bro Party Massacre 3, and I was like, do you think there'll ever be a movie that could dethrone it as the kill count? I was like, maybe not. I was like, then maybe we should make one. And then the title, I remember I said the title was going to be because like, what did you say the number was again for like
It's like 4,295, I believe. Something
I
like that.
remember. I think the title I wanted to do was 4,296. Like that was
There
gonna
you
be the title of the movie that I wanted to make. It's like have that and then like send it to James and be like, so he can get the belt back. Also, it's funny because I do have a question about that I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
I was gonna
go
ask,
ahead.
since you're currently the reigning defending dead meat kill count champion,
I didn't make the movie. My friends did. I can't believe I again say I did not count Parchtown in the original script. And James went,
Oh.
we have to count it because of Final Destination, because we see part of it and they say the number. They didn't say a number. That's why you didn't count. I think like everyone's like Jason X when they blow up that space station or something. But there's nothing to say who was on there and what was on there.
Yeah. Exactly.
If they'd said a number, great. Or even if in an interview, if someone had said like, oh yeah, we had this many, great, that'll work.
Yeah, like in Brightburn, like they do the newscast and like because they have the airplane like crash into the house and like a number on the newscast.
Yep.
Yeah, since you're like still the defending champion, do you ever think there will come a day when you'll lose the belt, or do you think that currently you are essentially, for me at least, you are essentially the Roman Reigns of dead meat? Because you cannot be beat, you cannot be stopped at any cost.
I think James actually made that joke at the end, and I didn't understand it because I only know wrestling through him when I go to his house to watch wrestling events. But yeah, I don't see anything going that way. People say Cabin in the Woods, and I stick by the fact that no one died. The world did not die during that film. The hand falls, and then the movie ends, and then people die. But the movie's over. So no, you can't count the population of the world for that one. I'm sure there's something out there that has some random scene like that just gives you a number. And again, I talked to the 5SF guys because I'm actually part of the group now, the later years after they retired, that they will be coming back and doing some new 5SFs. I actually shot some new 5SFs with them this last weekend. And so we're doing some more of those, coming to promote some more Dude Bro screenings in the future. But yeah, they actually wanted to have the highest kill in there. And that's why they specifically said that amount, and it works. It fucking worked.
I just remember my face dropping so much, like, and then like watching the video and then James coming in so sad. And I was like, James, no, you're not going to do this. Like, gotta fall through. I was like, James. And then the kill graphic came. I was like, he's done it. He's done it.
Awesome. Yep, that was me. I was very happy and very giddy. But also, it's the only time that he's ever going to be able to actually hand the belt to the filmmakers, most likely. To have Michael and Tom and John Salmon there, and actually give them that. And that meant the world to them. Whereas some would be like, cool, throw it in the trash. But no, they were so honored. Michael was so happy, that man, and he's just very happy. And I think it helped boost the letterbox score of Dude Bro up by a point or two. He's like, thank you, Dude Bro kill count.
Awesome.
What has been the most challenging kill count you've worked on, in like any aspect?
I mean, the very first one was very challenging. The Tremors one was very challenging because I'd never written one before. James wrote everything, and I started from scratch of writing my own thing. I overwrite. I write way too many jokes and do something for like every moment that's on screen. It's more of like a commentary track when I first do things, and I'm getting better. But still, I tend to overwrite a lot of things with jokes. And James is very good at figuring out like what is important to say, because we're not trying to be replacements for the movie. We're trying to be commentary and show enticement so that people will watch the movie, or people watch the movie first and then come for kind of our commentary and go, oh, that's fun. Yeah, I noticed that too, and that was a cool bit. But yeah, I remember that the first Tremors took me a while to just really nail that. I did probably the most drafts out of that one because I was just trying to get into that and then also figure out my own voice and what I wanted to add different than James kill counts. And one of them was, the fake ads that are on only Zoran kill counts. James was like, oh, I want to keep those. Those are fun. And then he's like, oh, those are extra work. No, I don't want to do those anymore. It's like, okay, I'll just keep those for mine. So they're my signature is now I will always have a fake ad in there, because there's some people that absolutely hate the fake ads, other people that really love them. And for me, it was a great way of being able to do a little sketch about each one. And I was inspired for a lot of them. And then some of them I had to like force and be like, I don't know what to do for this one, but here we go. But I think they all turned out really well. I've got some more for the for Deep Rising and the Collector and the Collection. Those are the ones I'm doing after that. And then doing all these guys. All 5 Critters movies. Oh yeah.
So speaking about humor, how do you balance that humor and reverence when discussing horror movies? And how do you aim to engage both hardcore fans and casual viewers?
I mean, horror fans are some of the greatest fans in the world. They're some of the nicest fans in the world. They're just so nice. The people that love seeing just people get ripped in half and dismembered and beaten with their own limbs are just the nicest human beings. I've been able to go to a couple conventions with James and Chelsea, and it's been absolutely lovely. Like, one guy showed up with a pair of pants for me to sign, because I have a running joke where I hate wearing pants on the kill count set. And he showed up. He's like, will you sign these pants, Zoran? I'm like, yes, of course I will. This is lovely. But yeah, they're all wonderful, delightful people. So, I lean more into the horror comedy of it and, poke fun at things. And, I still respect when a horror movie can really work. And like a lot of horror fans, you can also see us kind of as drug addicts in some way, in that we're looking for that next high. Like, we've seen so many that we now predict like when the jump scare is happening, so if a movie is actually able to scare us, then that's like, yes, it's been so long. That's what I want. I want that, because you got that all the time when you were younger as a kid, being like, I don't want to look at this. I don't want to even, no, I'm not even gonna look at this. I was terrified by Little Shop of Horrors when I was a kid, and had to turn it off because I was like, it like pulls in Seymour and is like singing right in his face, like, he's gonna eat him. I can't watch this. Ah! Run to the other room, and my dad's like, Brad, I rented that for you. It's I mean, I'm humor first, so for me, it's gonna be the joke is gonna win out, and I'm not trying to disrespect the horror community. And you'll see that in, I guess, The Collector. I do a lot of jokes where I was like, I genuinely like the movie The Collector for all the torture, porn kind of Saw-like movies. I think it's well done. Some great deaths in there, but the logic of the character makes no sense. So I am just digging into like, why? Why did you rig a golf club up to this thing to link him over to hit the man into the pan, and just mousetrap? Yeah. I don't know. It's all a balance. And I think James also helps keep me balanced when he does passes on my script too. I work very well as collaborative. I do a lot of things on my own, but I really love, filmmaking as a collaborative art form. And so everyone's opinion is really good to have. And like former assistant Ben, who's now brand manager, James always does his kill counts by himself. Whereas I always have Ben with me, because I like to have a little audience and to riff on jokes back and forth and things, which is why my footage is a lot more than James's, where James is very much like the Krusty the Clown, walks in, goes, hey, all right, get out of there. That's it. I did my 2 takes. I'm done. But he's been doing this so long that he knows exactly what to do and is just moving on. Whereas I'm like, well, what if we tried this joke, and maybe that joke's not working like this, and what if I did it happy, sad, so yeah, and then Ben also contributes to the kill list jokes that I also added. Like, James tends to just mark what the kill is, sometimes in a fun punny way, but I'm like, no, joke first, then in parentheses how they died. I don't care how they died, but as long as we get a little joke in there, I like that part too. So, what was the question?
Okay, so this question actually comes from a discussion us 3 have had before, and it's that if you were part of a horror movie That's like I chose like Cabin in the Woods because this would be where the scenario would work best. And it came time for your character to die. What would you want, like either person or creature, to be the thing that kills you? I remember, like you said, I think it
So
was
Merman's already taken.
yeah.
Bradley Whitford got that one. God, like I think one of my icons is I had art made of me getting eaten by a graboid, where I'm just smiling and just going down its throat, be like, well, this is the way to go. It's just down the throat of a graboid. Yeah, I don't know what kind of creature I would. I mean, I don't want to die. Let's just say right now, I as one of the few people that I just don't want to die. I have more things to do. Like I'm trying to think of like what would be a pleasant one to kill me that I like don't notice what's happening. Because all of them are just gonna be horrible things are gonna happen. I don't want my head cut off. I don't want anything like that. I guess I would want it to just be a truly unique death, so that it's not just another beheading or another stabbing or something like that. It would have to be something like that guy was eaten like a hungry hippo by critters from arm to into the middle of him while screaming and making jokes.
You want the golden chainsaw of death.
Yeah, if I'm gonna die in a horror movie, I want the golden chainsaw. Thank you very much.
Is there anything you haven't done yet in your career? Because I heard earlier you mentioned wanting to do voiceover work.
Yes.
Is there anything you haven't done yet that you'd like to do in the future?
Oh my God, so many things. I mean, I've been living in the YouTube space for so long. Like that's my bread and butter. That a lot of the other places don't take you seriously if you're in the YouTube space. They're like, that's YouTube. It's not, a film or anything like that. I remember trying to get into the Editors Guild at one point, and I'm like, I've done all this. Look at all the stuff I've edited. They're like, yeah, it's all for the internet. It means nothing. Bye. I'm like, cool. Thanks. Great. Thanks. I don't know how to get anywhere further into this industry without making stuff myself. But I think the dream is voiceover. I love voiceover. I love the voiceover community. I love cartoons, animation. I mean, I originally went to SCAD for animation and then was begged to switch majors when I took intro to video and did a video postcard. And, I just did it for fun because I enjoyed making little shorts back home. And then they're like, oh, what's your major? Please come over here. And then I was like, yeah, well, I don't really like life drawing. So yeah, there's a lot of life drawing in animation. So I'll give this a shot. And then made it through the 4 years there at SCAD and became I think I got the award for best in class, much to the dismay of everyone around who didn't know who the fuck I was. I like, and here's our award for best in, the best. I have like a little, I don't know where it is. I have a little piece of glass that's like, I am the best of the class. And no one knew who I was because I worked as an island, which do not do. If you go, and none of you work with as many human beings as possible. I did that wrong. The very least you could do in art school is meet as many people as possible, work with as many people as possible, because you never know who's going to succeed or who's going to need help with stuff like that. They taught me Final Cut. The next semester, they switched everything to Avid. And so I didn't know how to edit anything ever again. And I was like, well, I'm just going to use my computer at home and just edit Final Cut. And no one else was doing comedy. So I was the only one doing comedy. So I would just make my comedy shorts with my roommates and then bring them in to be like, yeah, this looks great. Good work. So yeah, definitely collaborate with people. Don't just be an island on your own. That's the great thing about art school is there's so many talented people out there that you get to meet and you get to work with and try and work between all the different departments. They were still struggling to get all the departments to work together, acting and everything and film together. But yeah, again, I can never remember what question you ask at the beginning of it. I
No,
just
that
go
was-
on these tirades and then have
That
nothing.
was not tired. That was a powerful speech for us.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm very glad. So yes, voiceover, love that. Currently, I am the voice of the Blue Bunny ice cream. If you see a Blue Bunny ice cream commercial, you will hear this voice, which most likely the
I
algorithm.
figured that was
Did you not know that?
I know.
Did you?
Every time I hear him, like, is that Zoran?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Like
Yes, it
scratching
is.
my head, like, this is so weird. Is this Zoran?
If you look at the comments on their YouTube channel, it's like, I think that bunny likes Tremors. They know now. I've come in and done a second round of commercials, which just came out on YouTube, that I'm pretty sure are now going to be playing before every one of my kill counts. You're probably going to hear Zoran as a bunny and then watch me dissect the collection. But yeah, that's the biggest gig that I've gotten so far for voiceover, which is great, and I hope that more come from it. I'm auditioning all the time to get that. I would love to create an animated show and do voice work for the animated show, write for an animated show. Animation is a thing that I would love to be involved with, and yeah, and it's great. We also have another wonderful voiceover person with Dead Meat, as Chelsea Rebecca has worked her ass off to become a really good voiceover person. And you check out her Twitter to see her demo reel, which is great, and she's getting some good roles and things. Yeah, and it's just a great community. We're all very supportive of each other, and just like, yeah, we want to work together. That's it. We all want to play together and have a good time. And I love it, and would love to do that in the future, as well as I think I need to do at least one movie at some point in my life. I've got things, but I'm like, let's just have that done. Just get that somewhere out of the way. If I get to do more, great, but just do that.
What is some advice you would give to aspiring content creators who are interested in working in the horror genre?
Oh, okay. Well, you have to do it for yourself. Don't do it just because you're like, oh, I'm going to make money, and don't chase trends. That's a lot of things that happen, is like, well, this is the popular thing that's happening right now, so I've got to do my version of that. Do something that's actually inspiring to you and interesting to you. Like when I did Big Head Jurassic Park, that was solely the idea of, why the fuck doesn't Tim walk over and pick up the gun? You got two people on the door, and Tim's just hanging out behind the chair going, come on, go through your stupid 3D interface. And I'm like, go pick up the goddamn gun. And my whole goal with that was that I hope someone else was sitting in the theater and had that same thought, and that it's a nice way to connect to another human that I've never met, of like, yes, we think the same way. That is so stupid. But obviously, Jurassic Park, lovely movie, wonderful, love the movie. The movie's great. I have a Jurassic Park bathroom. But you can still find little things, and if you can pinpoint that right thing that's like, yeah, why did that happen? So, stay inspired to, something that you have to say. There is always something to say. When I first went to SCAD, I had the wrong attitude as well of I would just like, the joke's funny. That's it. That's all that matters. It matters if the joke's funny. I'm like, yeah, the joke has to be funny, but it does need to serve the greater purpose of the thing. Because if you just have one-off jokes, then you become Family Guy, where you can get a harder laugh, and you can get laughs from things you didn't even know if you have good characters, and that, react in an interesting or realistic way than just, here's a joke, moving on. That being said, there of course are times that you can just bombard people with jokes as well. That's the Zucker brothers method of just joke. We're gonna throw 50 of them at you, and then you'll grab 2 of them, and then the other ones you'll pick them up off the floor later. It doesn't matter. But and don't get disappointed if you don't have views, or one of the things that I didn't have like an 83 million view video. I had videos that had like 400 views. I still have some that are probably like 1,000 views. Some of my Monsters of Science ones that I love, that are some of my favorite things that I've created, have like 1,000 views or something like that. People just don't do. But those 1,000 people that did watch it loved it. And there are people that you don't know if you're putting content out there in the world. It's affecting people in some way, whether it's affecting millions of people or just 2 people. You can meet someone that years ago, my buddy Charlie was teaching an improv class, and one of his students was like, I started doing this because I watched low carb comedy videos and I recognize you from the video. And so a few people have decided to pursue comedy because of that. There was someone that remade Social Mediascus with their entire high school in South America, or no, Mexico. And now I can't remember. I apologize if I can't remember which one it was. But they remade the entire thing shot for shot. It inspired work onto someone else that then, they're going to create their own stuff, hopefully eventually. Because a lot of times also mimicry is how you learn a lot of things. I learned a lot of stuff by doing shot for shot recreations of like a Terminator chase sequence, but with a guy in a gorilla mask. And I learned about shots and how things worked and then how they were put together. And you just have to keep creating stuff. And it's not all going to be amazing. You're going to have some garbage. You're going to be able to try some things. You'll have some things that you might make that 10 years from now will get you canceled. You don't know what's gonna happen in the future. You have to feel safe to create things, but also, have ownership on your stuff as well. That the thing with comedy is it's tricky that you're going to try things that will not work and fail miserably, and that can offend some people, might not offend others, but you just have to figure out what works for you and work smarter. Don't go for a low joke. A lot of comedians complain that you can't do stuff in today's society because everyone's too woke and protective and safe, and like, no, you can. You just have to be really smart about it. You can do offensive material if you have an interesting take on it. Like, I have no examples of anything, but I'm saying, like, if you do it in a smart way of commenting on this rather than just saying it to get a laugh because it's shocking. I'm probably going in a dangerous place saying any of this stuff, but I'm not condoning be like hateful or anything, but there's ways of commenting on things in society. You just have to be very smart about it and not just, say things for shock value. And also remember, everything that you put out on the internet is there forever. Remember that. So don't put something out that you're not proud of. I don't know if any of that is helpful
Oh, no.
to people out
that's
there.
helpful. That definitely helpful. I've had a few of those times where like I'm really proud. Like even if like some of my videos don't get like insane views, I'm still proud of what I've done because I had a great time making it.
Yep. And remember, they're in some ways they can become home videos. They're really well made home videos that remind you of a time and good times that you had. As you watch them, you're like, yep, I remember that shot. He actually fell over on take 2. And that one, he almost got hit by a car, but he's okay now. I'll always remember Jason Voorhees' personal trainer. I did put Mark Cusper in Lake Michigan in October in a full Jason mask for the underwater reveal shot. I almost killed the man. I probably almost killed that man. He was shaking in the car after that shot because we got out there. It was so cold. I was in the water too, but it was so cold the camera stopped working. And I'm like, I'm just trying to get the camera to work. Just pop up, go, get out of the fucking water. Be safe. That's what I say. Be safe in your camera, in your work too. Don't get anyone hurt.
Okay. That one. Okay. So this is one of my fun questions that I have written down to ask. So your IMDb picture is so your IMDb picture is so awesome and so funny and so iconic. And I think we just know what's like the backstory behind that because it's so good.
That was when I was doing Improv Olympic in Chicago. After I graduated, I was doing all the improv stuff in Chicago. I did Second City since high school. I did Annoyance. I did all that. And I can't remember. I needed headshots. And so someone pointed me to this guy, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember your name right now. But we took pictures, and he said, bring a bunch of props with you. And so I just grabbed a bunch of random props, and that was like I think, is it the Care Bear picture that's the one that's up there, or no?
I think it's no. I think it's you in a hat, and it might be a Care Bear hat.
It is a Care Bear. It's a child's
Okay.
Care Bear costume
with a can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
Can of Campbell's soup, and he's just like, let's make your Campbell's soup ad. I'm like, all right, here's my Campbell's soup ad. Wearing a Care Bear and just going, Campbell's soup. And so those are the only headshots that I've ever had taken. So that's what I use for all headshots. I do have an alternate one that exists out there somewhere that's like, I'm in a Miami Vice suit sitting up against a car, and I had a terrible curly wig that I found at a thrift store, just wearing this weird like 80s perm. Like, these are my headshots. I don't have a serious headshot that's going to get me anything. But that's what I got.
Best headshots are the ones that show your personality. And that one,
yeah. I'm just like, nope, this is fun. This is me. This is what you're gonna get. You're not gonna get a very serious person if you want me.
Steven, one of your questions.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So what's your favorite thing about making just content in general?
I mean, as a creative person, I'm not myself if I'm not creating. Like, if I just stopped, there were times in Chicago that I hadn't made something in like 6 months, and I'm like, why am I being irritable and angry and yelling at people and just like, oh, I haven't made anything. Like, and not just films, like painted, drawn, did anything creative. If I'm not doing something creative, I'm not myself. I am my best self when I have done something creative and I've made something out there. And then connecting with people. Like, I read as many comments as I humanly can and try and interact like in the YouTube sections and things, and take compliments and give jokes back and whatever it is. But like, being able to help other people and bring smiles to other people's faces and help people in hard times sometimes is, you just need a joke. You just need a joke sometimes. You need to watch something to take your mind off of something else. Because life can suck. And shit can happen, and you need to be able to take your mind off of stuff. And hopefully I can connect with other people through my comedy. And I don't know, we're all just trying to live our best lives and enjoy ourselves. And I hope that I provide some enjoyment for folks out there.
Definitely in this room. Yes.
Oh, good. Oh, thank God.
Okay, so I get the privilege to ask you this question. What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, I don't like scary movies.
You should have done it in the voice. You're really good at ghost face. You could have done it in the ghost face. He's really good at the ghost face one.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Roger Jackson there.
I love Roger Jackson. He's a big inspiration.
The man said my name in one of the kill counts, the Scream kill count to the numbers.
The fifth one, I think it was.
It was the fifth one. Yeah, I wrote that right, but basically I think I was going out of town, and James was like, we got Roger Jackson. Do you want to write it to the numbers bit? I'm like, da 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 da. There you go. Bye. I'm out. I hope he says my name. And that's the Scream costume that I bought for the Scream They Talk that has now been used multiple times. Spent far too much money on it. I mean, not for what it was. It's a very well made costume and things, but I blew all my budget on that costume because I'm like, I need a really good Scream costume that has the sparkles and everything in it. But yeah, favorite scary movie. I mean, there's so many, and I'll just say the one that actually scared me as a kid was The Gate. I don't know if anyone knows The Gate. The Gate was it Stephen Dorff as a kid, and they open a gate to hell, and there's one moment in there that you think everything's okay. They're like, oh, we've defeated the evil, and they go upstairs and go to bed, and then big monstrous hands come out from under the bed and grab this girl, start pulling her underneath it, and then from that point forward, I jumped into bed. I did not go near the edge of a bed. I was like, okay, I gotta get a running jump, and I'm in the bed. I am not letting anything grab my feet. So I remember that always terrifying me. And that's also probably what started seeking me into more things that would terrify me and such in that nature. So I'll go with that one. but obviously I'm a big Tremors proponent. I think it's a perfect film. It's not the scariest movie. It still has a jump scare that works. The generator getting launched out into the air still, I think, gets everyone. It's a perfectly timed jump scare, but it's just such a damn good, perfect movie. I love it so.
It's actually funny that you bring up Tremors, because I was actually going to ask you, like, which one of the Tremors films was your favorite to cover, and which one was like the most fun to film? Because you have a lot of fun, like, jokes and little things in those various kill counts, which is so amazing.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I enjoyed making all of those. Those were fun. I'd say filming Hiram Gummer, being Hiram Gummer, was very fun. Like my Hiram Gvojic bowler hat mustache thing. I was very glad to get that stupid mustache off. Fake mustaches are the worst. I had so much fun doing all of those things. I love them all. For me, like, ranking wise, Tremors 1 and 2 are pretty tied. Tremors 2 has an emotional component that I watched all the time with my brother, so it's a bonding movie for me and my brother, and I think it's the perfect way to do a sequel that builds on the original but then twists it in a new and interesting way that breaks the rules, so you're not just doing the exact same thing over again. And Fred Ward is just awesome. Just, rest in peace, buddy. I love Fred Ward. But yeah, that first one is like a perfect movie from script wise and characters, and just I love them all. Very, very fun to film.
What's the best part about working for Dead Meat and James in general?
I mean, they're the James and Chelsea, they're the best bosses in the world. They're wonderful because they're my friends too, so they're all very understanding if I need to, like, stop and do a voiceover thing or some kind of interview for SCAD radio or something like that during my work day that I should be working right now. James and Chelsea, don't look at this. I'm not on the clock. It's okay. Yeah, no, they're very generous. They've done a great job of setting up an actual business and things. Like, I have healthcare, I have, the things that a normal job would have. And then I get to do this really fun stuff. So they allow me to be creative. And I like being able to problem solve when they need things too, and help out and make stuff better, and, add a joke to the numbers bit that we do. And yeah, it's just really, really good bosses, and the whole team is great too. Everyone that they've hired is wonderful. I'm glad that I get to work with them all, and I've been trying more and more to get them into my kill counts. If you notice in Tremors, you'd see Ben in there, or Josh, who does a lot of our unofficial kill counter, and Bree, and I've got Sarah and Spork social media, who I've created an adversarial relationship with. I put him in one thing. I said, I got a cameo from everybody in here except Spork. Yeah, no, I love it. And I hope that more of the Dead Meat team gets to be out there as kind of the face of Dead Meat, because it isn't just James and Chelsea. It is a full team behind them, and they are very grateful for the team, and we wouldn't be able to do what we do without the full team working with us. Love them all.
So I want to go to your, like, Patreon and whatnot for Dead Meat. Like, for example, you doing the whole Evil Dead, like, commentary, and
I did not do an Evil Dead commentary. I did House 2, the second story. Evil Dead's a popular movie. House 2 is not a popular movie, but that's the one I did.
I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry.
No, they just did a watch-along on Patreon with Fiona, who's a new assistant and does all the set deck now, and it does so much for the company. Fiona is awesome. And Fiona and Ben watched Evil Dead on a watch along. Okay. And then tomorrow, me, Jeremy, Ben, and Tim are all going to do a hangout on Patreon for the writers. We're all the writers. Ben writes all the sponsor scripts now. So when we have a sponsor and we have the fun jokes and things, we've been pushing those more and more. Kind of All right. James gets mad. I think it kind of started with Tremors that we started pushing those more into weird territories, and Ben started kind of taking over writing for those and things. It might have been earlier. I apologize, but it seems like the Tremors ones got really weird with me being a past version of myself and a TARDIS and all kinds of stuff.
So leading to that, how did you engage with the Dead Meat community, and what do you enjoy most about interacting with the audience?
I will, whenever I'm welcome, I will happily go to conventions to meet anyone in person and talk to them and just chat for a minute. And I'm more active on Twitter now than I ever have been. So tweeting at me, sometimes I will get a response, especially because I don't have a ton of followers and things at the moment. So I'm able to, I can understand once you have so many that it's like 50, 100 people went in and I'm like, that one I'll respond to. The YouTube comments, usually right after a video is released the day of, I'm in there just going, thank you, da da da, or this is, yeah, and that was a James joke, and this was that, and da 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 da. Yeah, I love engaging with the Dead Meat audience. They're lovely, lovely humans and very supportive of me and James and Chelsea, as James has been going through hard times, and they're also going on their honeymoon, and so everyone's like, yeah, go do your thing, take your time, man, just enjoy, because other people be like, screw you, I want my free content. I'm like, guys, you don't really pay for YouTube. You're not paying anything for this show that you get to watch, that someone is putting out for you. And a lot of people are recognizing that, and recognizing that James and Chelsea are humans. I don't think they are sometimes, with the amount of work that they do. They're insane. And I don't know how they do it. That's why they need breaks, and they need to be able to do things and enjoy life. And that's a good thing. And that's why we're here to support them. And I'm very glad that we're able to support them and give them the time that they need, because they are, as they say, they are good people. They are really good people.
Great.
Yeah.
Quick side note, quick.
Mhm.
Would you come back to Savannah? Because they are now putting out horror conventions in Savannah now. Would you come back and like be a guest for that or something?
Well, there is the rule. This isn't a hard fast rule that if you weren't mugged when you were at school, you get mugged when you come back. It's not. This has happened to multiple friends, both of my graduating class. Like, some were mugged when they were in Savannah, in areas that they shouldn't have been in. And then they're like, well, I didn't get mugged. And then they went back to visit someone like 2 years later, and then like, I got mugged when I went back. So I'm like, I'm afraid I'm gonna get mugged when I come back to Savannah. No, I will happily come back to Savannah. It's been many, many years. I have not returned. It hasn't had a full reason to return yet, but I would definitely consider returning to Savannah, Georgia. I had a lovely time at SCAD. SCAD was a wonderful school.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. First of all, I just want to say I'm very jealous you own a TARDIS. I'm so I saw that in the background of one of your videos. I was so jealous. I'm like, I want that in my collection.
That was a pandemic purchase. The reason I bought it is I used to record all my voiceover in the closet right over here, next to my neighbor's bedroom. And a couple times I would be screaming like, and then he would just like bang on the wall and go, son of a bitch. Be like, I think I need a sound booth. It's 2020. I don't know how long this is going to last. So let's get a sound booth. And all the sound booths were very expensive. And then I found some guy on Etsy who built them in Pomona, California, which is not far away. And I'm like, hey, can I get one of these? And I did it. And I put sound blankets in it and a little Mac Mini and a computer. And that's my sound booth. That is where I go and record all of my voiceover.
Is awesome.
Yeah.
So look at that. I'm just realizing I'm very low on question now.
Well, I think we're heading towards the end of our time here. We've been over an hour, so.
Okay, so we each get one more question.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, I got a
question, and then I run away.
Okay, I'm gonna leave my question on a fun one. Because watching all your Big Head movie parodies, it was so uncanny how many of those characters you kind of look like especially with like the Spider-Man 2 ones. It was so funny to see you in the background, and you looked very much like Peter Parker, which was amazing. So
I'm
which was
trying
your-
not to cry right now because Spider-Man is he's my guy. I mean, I can't see them, but I am surrounded by
Mhm.
Spider-Man of all varieties. Scarlet Spider, always a Scarlet
That's,
Spider.
that's a cool
Man,
figure.
and
That's a
you
cool
know, not to be outdone by that, but I do have an entire Spider-Man mask literally sitting right here. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
I kind of like Spider-Man, and to be Peter Parker, I'm like, I'm honored to be Peter Parker. I got to voice one Cosmic Spider-Man in a Marvel long story short YouTube video, and I'm like, I'm so happy. I'm so happy I got to voice a Spider-Man in something, even
Well,
if it's like one line.
But like, which one was like, if you had to pick one, which one would be like your favorite role that you took on, like during that?
Who did I play in all of those things? Tim was a lot of fun, and that's where I kind of originated my kid character. That my kid character just became Mickey Mouse. That was my kid voice. It was just like, I don't know about that. Because then that was basically the exact same voice that I used for Kevin McAllister.
Mhm.
Just I'm a murderer. That one was a lot of fun to do. That I think Home Alone is a very strong one because it is so stupid that this kid is just killing these guys. There's no way they survive this, and to kill them was great. And just point out how stupid the fact that the bird lady and the shovel guy are the same plot device in both movies. Shovel guy, I mean bird lady. Yeah, just to turn him fully into the sociopath that he really is. It's just like, the streets must be cleansed. Yeah, the kids' voices, I'm always happy to do the kid voices. Those are very fun. And then what was I? Oh, and Die-Hard was very fun to do. I can't remember. It's not Hans. It's the
Other guy, the blonde guy who like
yeah,
gets
the
smacked by
blonde
the
German
chains.
guy. I've failed as a Die-Hard fan to not remember his name right now. But like, Carl's back, baby. Yeah, doing a fun German accent is always a good thing. But yeah, I had fun with I think every role. And then Marty McFly, just glad I get to do Marty McFly. And Back to the Future is one of my favorite films. So to answer your question, I love them all. They're all my babies.
That's the correct answer.
Everyone except for Jerry from the Superman one. Because I wasn't the star in that one. That's why I didn't like that one. Jerry and Elaine.
And then we kind of touched on this earlier, but just do you have any kind of final words of advice to anyone that's out there listening here at SCAD, just to kind of just encourage them to keep going or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's you're gonna get into slumps and you're gonna hate everything that you do sometimes. You're gonna be like, is this funny? I work in a vacuum too. I mean, finding like-minded people to be around, writing partners if you're a writer, or just getting together and making things. If you have a dumb joke, just film the dumb joke. It may not go anywhere. It may just be a time that you laugh. Like that's all that early low carb was we would get together, we'd look at our guest book when those were a thing on websites, and someone would write, we like literally Sausage Fingers is a fan request. We started doing fan requested videos, which was like, all right, what does someone want to see? They want to see Sausage Fingers. What does that mean to you? It's this joke. What does that mean to you? This, and we'd write an entire sketch. And sometimes the earlier ones, we didn't write anything. Sausage Fingers, I did write, but the earlier ones, it literally has the end credit of like written by no one because we didn't write it. We just improvised it as we were kind of doing it. Be like, oh yeah, we'll go from here to this, and then that shot, and then this will be that, and that's a video. Done. We have a joke. So yeah, just try and keep the joy. And also sometimes it doesn't have to be your career. Don't focus your career on being a creatively fulfilling thing. Find a job that is not going to interfere with that. A job that's not going to drain you of whatever energy you need, that's going to allow you to have the time and money to do the things that you love. And those things may end up going into something, but as soon as you turn it into this has to succeed and it's a job and I have to put out content every Wednesday at this time and I didn't do it this week and I'm a failure because I didn't, try and just make it laid back. And if you are trying to do the YouTube model, bank as many videos as you humanly can beforehand. Don't do a video every week and start over fresh every single week. Have a bunch in the can ready to go, and then release them over time. And while you're releasing those, you bought yourself time to make new things, so you're not in the crunch of I've promised. Don't promise the internet. That's it. Don't promise the internet anything. If you don't promise them, they'll be very happy that they see something. But if you say it's coming out Wednesday, I'm sorry, guys, I broke my leg. I don't care. Give me my jokes. Okay, sorry. Sorry, I don't have a leg anymore. They had to cut it off, but that's cool. I'll make some jokes for you on the internet. So, just keep it manageable, keep the fun, and just find like-minded people that you like to make jokes with.
And our final question, what can fans expect of Dead Meat from the channel in the upcoming months and maybe further beyond?
Oh, yes. Well, I am taking over starting Friday, April 28th, so that James can take some much needed time for himself and for the honeymoon that he's going to be doing. So I'm going to be doing, I'll just lay them out for you now. I'm going to be doing Deep Rising. Next week after that, I'll be doing The Collector, followed by The Collection. And then after that, I'll be doing all 5 Critters movies. That is taking us through the next couple months of a Zoran takeover of the Dead Meat channel. So hopefully you stick around and give me a shot and watch all those if you're looking for James. He's still going to be cameoing in them. I always write a James cameo in there if I can. Might not be able to when he's on his honeymoon, or I'll force him to film one while he's off in London or something. Yeah, so we've got that, and then James will return. He's got a bunch of things laid out. Hopefully a lot of the copyright issues we've been dealing with as well will be resolved, and we're not going to have blocked videos. And that's another thing. If you can, don't base your content on other copyrighted stuff. Like the stuff that we do is fair use and it's commentary and it changes, what it is, and it's not meant to be a replacement. But if you are trying to bank everything that you do on other copyrighted material, it's hard to make a career sometimes, and you can be at the whim of an algorithm or another company just not understanding what you're doing. Yes, and then at some point there will be more They Talk. I swear to God, there are 4 episodes that I have cracked into their stories. James hasn't had a chance to look at them yet, and so the next piece after that is then I have to go from the rough kind of edit of each of those into the next one, and I have an idea for a 5th one that will probably be the final one in this format because it's so epic that it covers an entire franchise in one video. And if I can make it work, it'll be amazing. And if I can't, it'll be a thing that I'll still release. So we'll see. I think the plan is 5 more episodes of They Talk in its current form at some point. I can't promise when that is because I am now taking over the channel, and that's taking all of my time, and I need a lot of time for that. But at some point there will be more They Talk, and then maybe it can evolve into a different kind of format from there, but we don't know. We'll see. Everything's changing all the time, but I'll still be there on the Dead Meat channel, always helping out and whatever needs to be done.
Thank you for your time, Zoran, and I really appreciated that you responded and we could do this interview with you.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you so much. I mean, you dressed up like me. I can't. I've become the flannel man. Yeah, no, I'm very glad that I was able to connect with you, and I'm a normal human. I'm a human being.
Of course.
That's just, I'm not some weird entity out there that just creates puns out of nothing and just screams BIXBY.
We got a BIXBY.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
What was your last question? Where's your favorite place to live if you didn't live in Los Angeles?
No, I was genuinely thinking could we get Zoran just quickly to say a BIXBY?
Yeah, I will say I cannot believe that that's what became that was just a one-off joke that I put into one that I'm like, well, I got to write that in every single video now because everybody loves BIXBY.
Part of your legacy is wearing no pants and BIXBY when it comes to the
all just, again, not planned as running jokes or anything like that. Just, I was like, oh yeah, BIXBY's a fun name and it's a fictitious town and they make fun of it. Yeah, or they mention it, at least in some. And then I was like, oh, they don't mention it anymore. Now I got to really work to get that BIXBY joke into there. But I'm sorry, don't expect BIXBY jokes in the other kill counts that are non-Tremors related. I'm not going to be forcing those in there, but probably pantsless jokes still. Because I'm mad that the new set doesn't let you have, pantslessness. You see your pants in there. So I have to wear them on the new set. I mean, I'm not wearing pants right now, so you see my legs.
Again, thank you for your time. I would really like for you to make an appearance, like maybe sometime in the future again. We'll really appreciate that.
I feel I've said everything that you could ever want. Ever, but
like,
I will say more things. Just ask me different questions. Don't ask me the same questions, and I'll have to come up with different answers. So the question, like, this time I like.
Now that it's been like a while since we told, what's your new favorite scary movie?
It's still gonna be Tremors. I've got a graboid egg here. It's gonna hatch one of these days. That's where my Tremors movie lives, inside here. Hello. Goodness. Yes, I will happily come out. You are wonderful. Keep doing what you're doing over at SCAD. Enjoy your time there and work with everyone. Meet every freaking person there. You have no idea where anyone's going to end up. And SCADuates are the best. And it's just fun to be a SCADuate. That's a great name.
That is really
Yeah, thank you so much. I have like another quick question. It's just really quick.
You
I'm
said
sorry.
final
I'm sorry.
question.
I'm sorry. I just thought of a quick question. Because this is probably in my top, like.
What is the meaning of life? Oh, a quick question.
I'm sorry.
What's the meaning of life?
No. All right, go.
What did you think of Scream 6? I'm gonna have to ask you that one real quick.
I watched Scream 6 on my honeymoon in New Zealand. That's how amped I was. I'm like, we have to find a theater, honey. It came out, and I don't want spoilers on the internet. I enjoyed Scream 6. It was fun. I'm sad that there was no James or Chelsea cameo. Their film fails character should have come back. Which is still blown away that they were in that movie. That's amazing. I'm hoping that they try and get me into a future movie, but they don't know who I am. So I'll happily be in a future Scream movie. But I like what they've been doing with the franchise, and I love the opening that played with the expectation and revealed that I'm like, oh, face, what? Oh, a killer's getting killed. This is great. I love it. So I'm excited to see where it goes. They've greenlit the next one. I can't believe they're cranking out one of these every year. They become like the new Saw franchise. It's like, all right, every time we're doing another one. Here we go. So as long as they keep doing it, Radio Silence does really, really great stuff. I love Ready or Not. I met them at James and Chelsea's wedding. Lovely human beings. Very nice to me. Just fanboying out of like, you did really good. I love that scene where you stab that guy and you just like, people didn't die immediately from like one stab. It was like really long. He's like, oh yeah, that usually went on much longer. We had to edit that down. I'm like, yeah, stabbings are slow deaths. I don't know why everyone like goes, boom, I'm dead. Like, no, it's going to take you a while, and it's awful. Not that I've stabbed anyone. I'm not admitting to anything out of your podcast here. Well, thank you guys very much for having me. I appreciate it, and best of luck with the rest of your time at SCAD.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.